Hey everyone, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I just wanted to keep this train rolling and go into what I start to talk about next, which is the insanity that is the couples in prison as far as security staff. I had no idea. I don't know if it was just my prison that I was at or if this is a common at most prisons, but where I worked, it was a lot of married couples, a lot of married security staff, and a really sweet girl that worked with me. She was also a mental health counselor. We had about 5 to 10, give or take, mental health counselors, depending on, they came and went, so it was a revolving door, but usually around 5 to 10. So this woman that I worked with, I explained to her, okay, so let me just tell you this little quick story. So I'm working in D2 and D4 dormitories, which is about 10 to 12 isolation cells. So they have 1 to a cell, like I've explained before in the other videos. And like I said, we go and do our rounds, and they have a clipboard. On each door is a clipboard. So you take the clipboard, you write down, cooperative or engaging. If they're jacking off, you're supposed to write masturbating. And actually, when I first started working there, I put like jacking off, and I'm like, this is not clinically correct, obviously. But the whole thing was just insane to me. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I mean, I had worked with all kinds of different disorders, but this was a whole new realm. So one of my colleagues is like, you have to put masturbating. So I had to actually write in the chart masturbating if they were masturbating. But so one of the security staff in the dorms, he was super nice, he knew I was real green, and he really helped me out. Like, he would tell me, literally one of my first days there, I was bending over or something, and the inmates were basically just like trying to mess with me, and like were dropping stuff for me to pick up from their cell. And he actually came over to me. He's like, just be mindful that they're messing with you. So I was really green. That was my first taste of like, wait, I need to be a little more hyper aware. And so later on, he was a little flirty, honestly, but later on, he was like, oh, if you ever want to come, we're going to do a bowling night tonight. If you want to meet some new people, come on down. He told me where they would be. And I was like, oh, that sounds great, because I don't know anyone here. It'd be great to meet some new people. And I was like, oh, a friend. I wasn't attracted to this guy at all, so it wasn't like going to be a romantic endeavor, but I wanted to make new friends. So I ended up that night going to the bowling alley, looking around, and he was not there. There was no one from the prison there. So I pretty much got stood up on the day that he said to go there. And I was kind of too embarrassed to even mention it. The next day when I saw him, I was like, was it an informal invite? I don't know. I just didn't even want to address it. I was just like, I'm just going to keep this guy at arm's length, because it was kind of weird that he did that, invited me, and just didn't show. Not that I even had his number, so if something happened, he really couldn't have told me. He just told me, meet him there. So that was just my first little, I was like, okay, well, I guess we're not going to be becoming friends like that. I mean, and the next day, he didn't even act like anything of it. Now, I wasn't going to discuss it on the floor next to the prisoners either. So, because they'd listen in to your conversations. But he did help me out a lot with the prisoners trying to, do their whole game with me in the beginning and warn me and say, Miss Lucas, be careful over here, be careful over there. And one of my first times doing the rounds in my dorms, it's hard to explain. It's hard for me to put it into people's minds visually, but the dormitory, you had a wall behind you, right? You had a wall, so you come in a room, there's just this wall behind you, nothing behind you, and then in front of you, you had the steel individual isolation dorm cells. And then on your, so if I come in the room on the right side, on the right-hand side, all the way down at the end of the hall, was a clear glass window, and it was where inmates would come walking through, the population inmates. So if they had to go to, wherever they were going, if they needed to go to even lunch yard, I don't remember where exactly the typical meandering would be, it's a weird word, but that's where they would go. Like there would be inmates that would go on those in the sides where there was a window there, and they did have security cameras in there. But so I'm standing there at an inmate's cell, and I'm talking to this inmate. He has tattoos all over his face. Found out he killed a homeless person randomly. Super psychotic on a lot of different medications. And you think the murderers are really severe and intense, but they were actually the easier ones to deal with, at least, especially in the mental health side of things, because they were very heavily medicated. So a lot of times they weren't showing their ass. They were chill. So you could have that conversation with them, and you had to kind of take out in your mind what they had done. And not to say that every inmate was like this, but you had to just, in order to get through this job, you couldn't sit there and be like, you killed a homeless person, you're a dickhead, you had to do your freaking job. That's just what you had to do. So that's what I did. I mean, my job in there, a lot of times the mental health therapist, and I'm not saying it's me per se, but a lot of mental health therapists would calm down inmates so that they wouldn't start riots, so that they wouldn't, act up or stab someone or do something, there's a lot of pressure, but we were that kind of saving grace when things were going down. Mental health wise, obviously the security staff dealt with the physical attributes, but mental health wise, they called mental health counselors up. If they had a problem, it was mental health counselors. At the same token, a lot of them, it was give and take. A lot of them didn't like mental health counselors because they just wanted to do their job. They didn't want to deal with us. So it's this constant give and take and pull of, we need you. We really need your help. But at the same token, you're annoying, get out of our way and let us do our job, which I can understand. I can empathize with that. And I'm not saying this as a blanket statement about every security staff. Like I said, there were some amazing security staff that did, the best they can do in the circumstance of being a security guard, which is a very difficult job. So props to them. There were a lot of corrupt ones, and I keep talking about the two. So I'm not neglecting to acknowledge either the good security or the bad. But anyways, on this particular day, I'm talking to the inmate that killed a homeless person, and tats all over his face. He had like a clown tat, all kinds of tats. And he's calm, and I'm like, this is actually a good convo, I'm learning about different things I'm getting through. And because obviously suicidal ideation is you constantly have to kind of work with inmates so they don't try to kill themselves, basically. I mean, so I'm looking to the right, and I see 3 men jacking off to me, talking to this inmate. And I'm just like, I'm in shock because no one prepared me for that. I knew that jacking was common in the prison. I knew that the inmates I would be seeing would be jacking off. I did not know that population inmates on foot while I was conducting therapy sessions, would be on the side jacking off to me talking to inmates. And I was just like, what the hell? So it was a shock to me. I told the security staff. So what the security staff do when this happens, and I say this happens because it happens frequently, not just with me, with other therapists. So I'm kind of flabbergasted, like, how is this even happening? You know, you have cameras, you have security guards. How are these 3 inmates? Who's supervising these guys? So the security guard goes down, shoos them away. And also, when the security guard starts to walk over to where these guys are, they run off, right? I worked with so there's a main guy that deals with these particular dorms. He was a great guy. And he's a little short guy. Very, very cool, very nice guy. A lot on his plate. And I told him about this, and he's like, you know, basically like, there's not much we can do. Like, and I'm sitting here going, what? Like, how is there not much you can do? And I'm saying, can't you look at the cameras, and can't there be some kind of a disciplinary action against basically interrupting our counseling sessions and being vulgar and disrespectful, anything at all? Well, we couldn't catch the guys that did this, and our cameras are crap. So basically, their cameras in this prison hardly work. So what's even the point of them having the cameras to begin with? So this is eye-opening to me, because someone from the outside coming in, I'm thinking prison's secure. Prison is, if someone does something bad, they're on camera, they're caught. Not like this, wasn't like this at this prison. It was very hard to catch a lot of these inmates in the act. And then, so if you did catch an inmate in an act, like, you could write up what's called a disciplinary report, a DR. Now, I think in the beginning I wrote up a couple DRs for masturbating. But what I come to find out is a lot of them, it's almost like some of them enjoyed getting DRs. It was like, let's see how much I can do to, you know, what can I do to push this person over the edge and make them do a bunch of paperwork and all this stuff. But, and sometimes they would retaliate if you were to DR, so sometimes it would even be worse, and it wouldn't necessarily help the situation. I still did them on occasion, but I didn't do them as often. And I didn't know a lot of the, later on working, I didn't know a lot of the staff that did DRs either, because it didn't really do anything. So that's just like one take of how insane this already was going. So I'm already having guys trying to hang themselves, a security staff walking off and saying, let them hang. I'm having, and I didn't mention that the 2 women that were security staff in the bunker, first day I get there and I go in to say, hey, you know, can you guys come in here with me while I do my rounds, which they're supposed to do. They were both having an argument. They were mother and daughter crying and having an argument. And the daughter ended up coming up there. But like, this is the type of chaos that was going on when you're just trying to do your damn job. And so what I found, later on, just working at this crazy establishment, is that inmates got away with so much stuff. And the amount of times that men, multiple times, would come on the side, whether they're walking to lunch or wherever they're walking to, yard. I never even understood that. I know, like, that they have times where they can't just walk freely, but there are times where they're just walking around the damn prison in their certain areas, but they're going on the side and jacking off to you while you're trying to do your job with the inmates that do have severe mental health issues. And so that was a struggle a lot of the times. And it made me more angry and angry the more it happened, because I could never catch them. Not that I'm a fast runner, but security couldn't catch them. And I just could not fathom that this was the norm. The norm is men are allowed to come over to the window, jack off while a woman is standing there, and get away with it. And they got away with it majority of the time. I think maybe once they caught them, and I don't even think they did anything. And because there were so many corrupt security staff, they would give them a slap on the wrist. Nothing, just nothing. Which made me pissed off, to be honest with you. I wanted them to be harder on these guys for doing that. It happens so often. You wouldn't believe how frequently men would just whip their penis out, jack off in front of you. And the security staff, the ones that did care and did try, it still really didn't do a lot. You wrote them up for a DR, didn't do much. I mean, to be honest with you, the only thing it did sometimes do is, so I will have to get my sheets out and stuff to explain, but we were on this thing called a tier system. So what it is you're on a level system. It's been a while, but there's different levels. And my dorms were the worst. My dorms were the guys at the bottom of the levels. There were 4 main mental health dorms that had the isolation inmates. And my 2 dorms, I got picked for the worst dorms, which is crazy too. I'm completely new, and they put me in the worst dorms you can be put in that prison, at least for mental health and for just, yeah. So, but the one good thing about the mental health dorms is that there were level systems where they can move up a level and they got more privileges. So if you're on level, I gotta remember my levels. Okay, there's level 1, level 2, level 3, I believe. Okay, I know there's level 1 and level 2. Level 1 was the worst. You're the worst of the worst. Level 2, you're getting better. So it's this level system. If you're on level 1, you're not getting crap. You're not getting anything. Level 2, you got more privileges. You may get, actually they had headphones in the prison. So if you were doing really well, you could even be rewarded with good behavior and get to listen to music and stuff like that. So that was the incentive for a lot of these men to not jack off on you. Because even if I didn't write them a DR, if I wrote in their chart masturbating, that would not look good when we did our meeting. So we would have a meeting, I believe it was once a month. I need to get the details, I'm sorry. But we would have a meeting for these inmates, for each individual one, to see, are you good enough to go up a level, or are you going to be stuck in the same level you're in? Or do you get put in or do you get taken all the way to first level, which didn't happen a lot. But, well, my husband's here. I'll continue later. Bye.